So when it looks like it's all going horribly wrong in your relationship, and it looks like it might even actually be all over, what do? What can you do? And is there anything that can be done to change that relationship once it gets to that stage? The good news is yes, and today I'm going to give you a quick 5 minutes on that. I'm Dr. Libby Kemkaran, and this is Tame Your Brain 26. And we're talking today about why people do what they do. I'm a specialist in decoding the human brain and how it works and how you can make better use of it to have healthy relationships and healthier work lives and healthier team engagements, and maybe not get a divorce at the end of all this, because that's what we're talking about today. Let's be blunt. Relationships suck because basically it's one or the other, and there becomes an almost adversarial component to it. So we're going to focus on that today for a quick 5-minute hit on the neuropsychology of relationships. So switching us around to our little babies, and we can see today we're having a general fight in the middle. So where do we start when a relationship goes south? It is either one or the other. It's you or it's me. It's right and wrong, and usually it's I'm right and you're wrong, obvs. It has to be that because of the part of our brain where we take our fight or flight behaviours. So I've talked about it before, but it's vital we understand this with relationships, because it's a biomechanical hack that we go into when somebody opposes us. So a relationship is a classic example of that. The other example is in a work scenario. So if we get a territorial dispute at work where someone thinks it's their place or seat and you think it's yours, we also go to this amygdala hijack. So it's really worth understanding. Stripe doesn't quite understand that I don't need a hug right now, and keeps coming over, so I'm sure we'll So in terms of what we do with our amygdala and what happens with our brain, is we have to understand that there are parts of it that are healthy and parts that are not healthy. Now, there's nothing bad about an amygdala response. It's designed to save us, but when it's a relationship we're talking about, it does cause some problems. Because it's adversarial, because as soon as we head into an amygdala response, you know that feeling when a disconnect becomes a disagreement that then becomes a downright row? Well, adrenaline comes from this circuit, and it takes 20 seconds of negative emotion to flood your body with this hormonal hijack. And once that happens, it's really difficult to switch circuits. As soon as we're in this place, our RAS kicks in, reticular activating system kicks in, and we subconsciously then begin to filter the environment for things that prove our point of view. It literally means we almost become blind to everything good that your partner is doing or not doing. Does that sound familiar to anybody? So how do we change this? So here's your 5 minutes of neuropsychological hacks to fix it. I'm just flipping the kitten back into the middle. In terms of what we can do, there are 2 really important things that we can think about. So I've got a degree in behaviour, and what's always proven true to me when I'm working either with couples who are stuck or teams that are stuck, the first step is building in those pattern interrupts to short circuit the drama, and we talked about that yesterday. And everything is about the next step. And by the way, there's 2 or 3 videos on that, so do look back on those ones. Everything's about this next step where we need to trigger the different side of the brain. Adrenaline is the opposite of oxytocin, the love drug. And we just need to find a way to reconnect with that side and move away from our adversarial side. So the adversarial side is triggered by a tight diaphragm, a narrowed focused vision. You know that feeling of fight or flight. I don't need to talk you through it because you all understand it instinctively. But what do we do to get through that? The very first step is breathing, and that's why I started with that way back in the series. And the Hep-Geckel exercise refocuses the mind and strengthens that other wiring. It's known as mindfulness. It's one of those practices which has gained a lot of traction in recent years. But accessing that in the heat of an argument is really bloody difficult, guys. So we need to find a way to move towards, past that pattern interrupt stage, of building up the trust, because it's all about moving across that arc of engagement into the trust cycles of the brain. So going from the amygdala of distrust through all the way around to the neocortex of trust. And this is a real precise thing, and as coaches we train in how to do this, and there are set things you can do. I'm going to give you one of those today. But you know, please, whether it's me or whether it's someone else, do get help with this. It's probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to do in your own relationships if you've already moved to the stage of distrust. So here's a quick hack that you can do if you're not at the stage where you can get help. Figure out which is their highest need. You can even ask them to tell you. Write down the 6 human needs and say to them, right, pick one. What is it that matters most to you? And then meet it relentlessly and consistently for 2 weeks, before then sitting down together to properly tell each other how you feel, even if it's grotty. And again, please do reach out if you do want help with this, because coaching isn't cheap, but it is incredibly valuable. There's a huge value in getting someone that isn't you, because it stops it being that adversarial right and wrong. So I'm going to finish that here for today, and we're going to move on from relationships to something really fascinating, which is the power of your physiology over the mind, and the power of your mind over your physiology tomorrow. So it's all about how to manage when your body's letting you down, and this is a reframing exercise that you can do. It's not easy. I've lived it myself, post-car crash for 3 years, so I know quite a lot about this subject. This one came up courtesy of Caroline in the discussion thread. So please do drop in anything on the thread that you want some help with, because I can focus these sessions towards it. As you've seen, our little ones are thoroughly woken up now, and I think he's in the middle of eating food he's just stolen from his mum. So I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. I'm just going to finish up by saying that the other thing I do is help businesses. So if you do want help with a team, this is something that's incredibly powerful to build into a team as well. So do get in touch if that's something you want to talk further about. My website is kemkaran.com. There's an email on there that you can click a call link and just book directly into my diary, and I've opened up a certain number of slots each week for people that do want to have a chat. So great to see you back here. Thanks for coming, and see you again. Bye.